Hey everyone, it's Mirella Manelli, and in today's hair tutorial, I'm going to show you 4 different foil placements and the effects they create on the hair. So stay tuned and check it out. To get started on our highlights, I went ahead and sectioned this mannequin into 4 quadrants. So right down the middle, and then from ear to ear, creating 4 sections. This bottom section right down here, from the occipital down, I went ahead and braided it because we're not going to be doing any highlights on it. So this is just going to give me a nice, controlled, clean area to work with, so this doesn't get in the way. This video is all about placements and the effects that they can cause in the placement of the highlights. So for example, I'm going to be doing horizontal sections right in through here, and then vertical sections. And then for the front 2 sections, we're going to be doing diagonal forward and diagonal back.
For this project, I'm using Kenra Professional Simply Blonde Blue Powder Lightener at a 1:3 mixing ratio with 30 volume developer. This is typically my go-to lightener for all highlights, but of course you're going to want to customize your lightener to your client's needs. For the purpose of showing you the 4 different placements and the effects they create, I'm going to be taking slices in each of the sections. For this first quadrant, I'm going to show you horizontal sections with slices. You will see that this is going to create lots of diffusion. Horizontal highlights are great for general highlighting, overall brightness, high diffusion, natural looking highlights, and color correction. Remember that horizontal placement is going to create the illusion of fullness and weight in your color. So if you are working with heavily layered hair, you will see a line of demarcation where the highlight ends. It's important for you to note each of the subsections you are creating while doing highlights. For demonstration purposes, I am taking 1/2-inch sections in between my foils. If you want to create lots of blonding, blending, and brightness, you will want to take smaller subsections. If you want to create a very natural effect or higher contrast with a deeper background for more depth, wider subsections are essential. In addition to subsections and placement, how you apply your highlights is going to make a difference as well. So for example, if you go in with baby lights, a chunky highlight, or even a teasy light, you'll create different effects, but you're still creating fullness, weight, and diffusion with the placement. So keep this in mind as you are learning different placements in this video and how you should customize your placement and application for each client. On the left quadrant, I'm creating vertical highlights. These can sometimes be challenging to apply, however they create stunning ribbon effects in the hair and give the illusion of length. I'm still taking slices in this quadrant so you can see the full effect of the placement. However, just like I mentioned in the horizontal segment, the type of technique used in the placement will vary for your end result. Vertical placement is used and great for creating high contrast, diffusing the stopping point of your highlights when working with heavily layered hair, and giving the illusion of longer looking hair. Some tips when applying vertical highlights is work in small sections for maximum control. Tension is key for holding your foil in place while applying, and choose the side that you feel most comfortable working on first, since all of your foils will be laying in the same direction while you are applying. And one last thing is have lots of duck bills on hand to help you hold your foils in place. Just remember that when applying vertical foils, you're creating the maximum amount of contrast. For the front quadrants, I will be doing the same diagonal placement, except that in the front left quadrant, I'm applying diagonal forward sections, and on the other side, they are diagonal back. This placement will create 2 effects depending on how your client wears her hair, whether it's towards her face or away from her face. You will either create high contrast with diffusion, which means you will see a difference between the highlights and the depth, but the line of where they start will be softer than with the vertical highlights. Or you will create diffusion with soft contrast depending on how the slice veils over. Since this placement lives between vertical and horizontal, you are getting the best of both worlds. However, the direction of forward or back fall is very important on how your client wears her hair and what end result you want.
For example, if your client wears her hair towards her face, diagonal forward will create more diffusion than placing them diagonal back. You will see the difference in each of these placements once the hair is finished and styled. And here's the final result on the different foiling placements and the effects that they create. So let's go ahead and recap what we did on this mannequin head. So on this side over here, this is a pretty typical horizontal foil placement. You have lots of blonding and lots of blending. So overall, it looks rather blonde. So I see a lot of stylists do this technique and we kind of know what it creates. You can see this would be if somebody wanted a nice overall blonding effect. Now in this section over here, we did more of a vertical placement. So in this section, you can really almost kind of see these really defined highlights, really creating more of a ribbon effect. So when you go in and curl this, so let's go ahead and take a piece out, you can really see almost kind of like a chunk, if that makes sense. So if you were to go in and really create a really tight curl, we're gonna have this long pop of blonde poking through just like a ribbon would show on the hair. Now on the right side of her head, we went in with diagonal back sections. So this actually gives a really nice blended effect if you're gonna wear the hair towards the face. But look what happens when we bring this back. You can really see these stripes of blonde because we went in this fashion. Now, of course, this can change depending on the type of highlight you put in. So keep in mind, we did put in slices, but this gave a really nice blended effect going diagonal back. And for the opposite side of her head, we went in with diagonal forward sections. So we took the sections going in this direction. So what this created is lots of pop of blonde, almost similar to a ribbon effect that the vertical highlights created, but with a much more blended version of the vertical highlights. So what you can see is if she wears her hair forward, what this is going to create is nice ribbons of blonde with lots of contrast, versus the other side had much more blended effect. So you can really kind of take these two different techniques here towards the front and really customize it depending on how your client wears her hair, whether it's forward or away from her face, or if she wants a blended effect or lots of contrast. So I really hoped you enjoyed this hair tutorial and I hope you learned something new. And if you did, I would love to know what it is. So subscribe, like, and comment down below and let me know which technique is your favorite. So until next time.